Dan Ives of Wedbush, who's one of Tesla's biggest cheerleaders, still is massively bullish on Tesla despite the underwhelming investor response following the robotaxi event this past week, which saw the stock fall roughly $20. Dan sees the event as a glimpse into the future of transportation with Tesla's Cybertruck, Optimus robotics, and next-generation autonomous driving technology. He believes the unsupervised full self-driving technology set to roll out in California and Texas could lead to significant profits for Tesla. Ives also highlights the potential of Cybertruck in the ride-sharing market and the upcoming Model 2 or 2.5 in 2025.
In terms of the next few years, I believe it's a game changer to the broader story.
You saw what might be, not what is, and there really is no real idea of when exactly this is actually going to hit the street. You want to take issue with that?
Well, I'd say first, and look, in terms of price per mile, I think the big focus was could they get under 50 cents? Musk talked about 20 cents per mile, potential with taxes 30 to 40 cents. When you look at Cybercab, and clearly the two-person Cybercab, this is something where, as this goes through the next 3 to 4 years, there's no reason this can't ultimately be 10, 15, 20% overall profits for Tesla as this all ramps up, just given what our view of the overall ride-sharing market and what they could gain, and it comes down to 1.5 billion miles driven.
So the stock had a significant move on anticipation of this event. The event, to many, underwhelmed. Therefore, not justifying the multiple that the stock has expanded to. That's JP Morgan's note today. They see substantial risk to multiple compression after the big rally into what they call a underwhelming day.
I think we look back at last night, 3-4 years from now, as a historical moment. And the reason I say that...
Well, because they held an event and showed you these prototypes?
Sure. I think it's more than prototypes, because ultimately I think the next leg of the story in terms of autonomous, I believe they will be a clear leader in broader autonomous. And I think it shows now, when you look at Cybercab, that's just one piece. I think the other reason the stock's down is Model 2, lower cost vehicle, they didn't show it. I think they're not going to show, we never expected they're going to show that at the event. I still believe that's the 2025 story. So I think broader, you look at, I think, demand stabilizing, just a robust China quarter. I think cogs is going to come down. You got Model 2 or 2.5 in 2025. And then when I look at the future, next 2 or 3 years, you look at Cybercab, you look at Optimus, you look at just some of the parts. I argue the AI story. It is the most undervalued AI name in the market.
I understand, but I'm trying to get my arms around how you're trying to value a stock based on some level of identifiable fundamentals.
Sure.
Are you telling me that you came away from that event last night satisfied with the details that you got?
Yeah,
because your colleagues at other places were not. Adam Jonas, that's it. Disappointing lack of detail. Tony Sacconaghi, stunningly absent in detail. Wells Fargo, little substance. Are you telling me that you were fulfilled in the detail that you learned?
No, we called out. Details are scarce. That was a negative, and it's a reason to stop. We wanted more details. But to me, with Musk and Tesla, in an event like that, you're maybe not going to get as many details right there as you'd want. But the reason we came out so positive, in terms of the test drives, and if you look at Cybercab, and you look now at production, and this is real. We're not talking prototype. 2026, they start to produce this. We go into next year, this starts to become more and more of a reality, and it all comes down to us, FSD. FSD penetration increases within Tesla. The story massively changes.
When do you need more details? When do you sit back and you say, you know what, I've given the benefit of the doubt on this story, whereas many of the others who cover this stock have not.
Sure.
When do you want details?
Well, I think by later this year, early next year, you basically need to have some details on when the lower cost vehicle is coming out, what production looks like, what, in terms of Cybercab and overall FSD, what the rollout is going to look like throughout 2025, and most importantly, cogs, because the whole goal here is that Tesla's going to be able to decrease cogs significantly, especially with the next-gen platform. If that happens, then you get numbers into the next year or two, I think they're underestimated by 40, 50%. That's what we need to see. If we sit here 6 months from now and they didn't give us that, then at that point, you probably do have to reevaluate things. But I think they have a lot more coming than they ever have in the story if I think back to the last few years.